Good evening and welcome to the Wakefield School Committee meeting of Tuesday, July 23rd. The committee was meeting in executive session that began at 6:30, and now we're convening in our open session. I'd like to lead the committee in our Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And as always, we'll start the meeting with a reading of our mission statement. The vision of the Wakefield Public Schools is to graduate students who are confident, lifelong learners, who are respectful and caring members of their community. Our mission is to prepare students for college, career, and community by providing rich and challenging curriculum, high-quality instruction, and educational experiences that meet their individual needs and interests. Is there anybody from the public who needs to speak? Please come to the table.
Thanks for having me. I'm Deb Butler, and I'm here tonight on behalf of Wakefield Repertory Youth Theater.
Okay, great.
Hey. So I am not on stage, which means I'm going to struggle with this. I'm going to read you a letter that I'm sorry I didn't send in advance, but I did have print copies for you afterwards and a present. So, dear school committee members, I am writing to you, members of the Wakefield School Committee, to ask for your support. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm here tonight representing the board of Wakefield Youth Repertory Theater, a small, local, nonprofit theater based in Wakefield, serving Melrose and Wakefield. WRYT was started in the 1990s under the umbrella of Wakefield's continuing education program by Tom Merchant, community ed coordinator, and Ron Shabaro, who was then the Wakefield High School drama director. I know I have 3 minutes, so I'm like talking fast. Later, the organization was incorporated as a nonprofit entity, and today it is governed by an executive board. As you know, Wakefield boasts an amazing theater and a cappella program. We have programs at the middle school and the high school level. In 2019, over 150 middle school students tried out for the Galvin's production of Mary Poppins. So that speaks volumes about the hunger for arts and theater programs. Right now, outside of that school program, there is no other Wakefield-based, affordable or otherwise, in-town theater option. Not the dance studios, the recreation department, nor the Boys and Girls Club. Despite our good reputation, a relatively good economy, and a quality offering, we are struggling as a nonprofit to sustain our program. Parents with more discretionary income are accessing the bigger companies, and the packaging of those opportunities is much sleeker than we can do as a nonprofit. Also, Stoneham, Beverly, they offer youth opportunities, and they do those in partnership with a brick and mortar venue. So you can see the Greater Boston Stage Company and North Shore Music Theater, which are these gorgeous venues where, in hallways. The for-profit camps are also really prolific in the surrounding communities, which is a function of how the economy is doing right now. So that leaves WRYT alone. We're unaffiliated with any other community program. We're not affiliated with the recreation department or a nonprofit club. And it's an understatement to say that it's really been a challenge to position ourselves in the field of nonprofits. Our sole mission is to give kids, Wakefield kids, access to theater. A quick example, so for a traditional summer camp theater program, parents pay for-profit on the lower end about $300. That's weekly for a junior camp program that produces a single act play, no intermission, about 45 minutes. It's a junior production, so it's a Broadway show that's truncated. The music looks a little bit different. Parents can also pay between $500 and $600 a week for a more intensive program that brings in a lot of off-Broadway professionals. Our program here in Wakefield is $167 a week for 30 hours of instruction. That averages about $5.51 an hour. And as a reference point, if you go to a dance studio, a dance class is about $17 to $19. And at the recital, you're still going to pay $55 to $80 for a costume. If you go to a music school, it's anywhere from $32 to $35 for a half an hour. So what we're offering is dance, music, presentation skills, again, for under $6, including costuming, for a 6-week summer program. We also have workshops throughout the year. Thanks for bearing with me. So our productions are full Broadway shows. We do the original score, original script, and this is done by 10 to 15-year-olds. So they actually do the real show. So why am I here? Our obstacle is that we have an inability to access Wakefield parents. Our origin story is that we were founded within the Wakefield public school system. And because of that, there was a migration of students to our program. Parents saw us as a low-cost option, similar to a Boys and Girls Club, similar to a scouting troop. But without that previously built-in advocacy, we're in a position where we now have to recruit, and we're competing where we can't against for-profits. We're running winter workshops. We're actively seeking donations. We don't have an endowments. We don't have parents that are leaving us legacy money. We don't have the budget for print ads to hiring marketing specialists. Last year, we had an option to get into the Mary Poppins program guide, which we could afford, or we could do the $500 sponsorship opportunity for a table in the lobby and to sponsor the photo booth. The ad was within our budget. But the opportunity to reach the entire population, the middle school, is out of our reach. $500 is the full salary for one of our high school or college staffers. So that's an entire aid for a 6-week program would be for one night to just have access to the Galvin. We understand that you can't endorse us. We are a nonprofit, we understand that, but we're in limbo as to how we can access the kids in this community. So I also want to mention that despite the fact that we make nothing, we gave away $2,000 in scholarships in the summer, which allowed 4 kids to come to our program that otherwise wouldn't have had access. So we are volunteering and donating a lot in terms of an 8-person board. All this isn't in the letter, this is me. In summary, Doug Lyons is in here somewhere. Here he is. In summary, our best opportunity to reach Wakefield students is through the Wakefield Public Schools, and we know that route is through our superintendent. We approached Doug Lyons last year, who was incredibly supportive. He applauded the mission, and he offered us anything we needed. Unfortunately, we didn't have strong strategies in place, so we couldn't take advantage of that, but we definitely appreciate the conversation. So why am I here? The true purpose of here tonight is that I want to invite you to the show. I brought 40 tickets to this year's production of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and I'm giving each of you 4 tickets. I don't care if you come, but gift the tickets to a friend, gift them to someone else in the community. Please get people into our theater so they can see what these kids are capable of. And on a very personal note, and this is my final paragraph, we have kids that need this program. I could go on about the benefits of mixed-age learning, mixed-age socializing. Colleen, remember the dinner table conversation with leveling? I can't stress, I mean, you know that as administrators and educators, but I can't stress enough that the acceptance that many of these quirky kids find in theater is invaluable. They feel unheard sometimes, disenfranchised. They don't play the traditional sports, they may not dance, they don't play soccer, maybe they're shaped differently, or just their minds bend differently. We have kids with anxiety, we have kids that cut. We have kids that have felt different because of their sexual orientation. And WRIT has given them home. Sorry. And for many, many other kids, a safe place to land is very important to me. I want to continue serving this community. We've been doing it for over 20 years as a theater program, and I just want you to come to our show. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
I will mention that, my daughter spent 3 years in that program, and we had a wonderful time. And as a matter of fact, she's a senior in college and still maintains friendship with one of the girls she met there.
Thank you, Dan. I'm
It's
gonna
August.
open the,
It's next weekend.
Next
Friday,
weekend.
Saturday.
It's usually early August.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
Friday. There's 2 shows Friday and I think 2 shows Saturday. I'm not sure about Sunday.
at the Galvin or Melrose?
Melrose.
Melrose.
Anybody else from the public who wishes to speak? Seeing none, consent agenda, please.
Move that the school committee approve the minutes of the June 25th, 2019 school committee meeting and accept the minutes of the June 20th, 2019 and July 15th, 2019 school committee finance and facilities subcommittee meetings as presented.
Motion's made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous? Okay. Next item is chairman's comments. You've all received copies of the findings from the Attorney General's office. Back in May of 2018, the Attorney General received a complaint from Dan Lieber alleging the school committee had violated the open meeting law with the Superintendent Search Committee. And there have been a series of findings in this thing that's available online on the Attorney General's site. The important parts for us right now are that the orders are for us to have immediate compliance with the open meeting law. Order all members of the school committee to file with the Wakefield Town Clerk within 30 days of the receipt of this determination, a certification of the open meeting law materials, certifying they have reviewed the open meeting law, the Attorney General's open meeting law regulations, the Attorney General's open meeting law guide, and all determinations within the past 5 years which found the school committee or any of its subcommittees had violated the open meeting law. Every member has to do all that review and then certify with the town clerk that they have done so by August 5th. Were there any questions on that? I did bring copies of certifications. I did print out any relevant materials from on the Attorney General's site. The website is referenced in the finding. It was very easy to look up all that material. Yes.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just one, if you would be open to sort of revising the word you used, there were not any findings per se. In fact, what the Attorney General's ruled, and according to Tom Mullen, the email that he sent to us, there were certainly there was information that was provided. There was lots of research done, lots of back and forth exchanging of documents. A finding is something that we were found fault at doing something or failing to do something. We weren't found to be at fault for failing to do something. In Mr. Mullen's memo, the only offenses found were that it took a few more days than the permitted time to furnish the minutes and the failure of the screening committee to members to file an open meeting law certification form like the form we're filling tonight. On the most significant issues, whether the screening committee deliberated outside a posted meeting and whether any violation was intentional, were not found. Nor were we faulted, we being the school committee, nor were we faulted for failing to produce executive session minutes showing the identity of unsuccessful candidates. So this is Mr. Mullen's interpretation of the Attorney General's letter. So I certainly think having us go through open process is always healthy to make sure that we're paying attention to all of the things with regard to public disclosure and open meeting and having a deliberation in appropriate public setting. But by and large, according to Mr. Mullen's interpretation in the Attorney General's, whatever it is, 7 or 8 pages, we were not found to be such. There are certainly remedies, and the Attorney General's fairly typical remedy is to ask us to go back and to renew and revisit and reread, and that's always a healthy thing to do. So I'm just asking, the use of the word findings usually implies that there was something to be found that we were in violation of, and the Attorney General really wasn't finding us in violation of.
Yeah, I didn't mean for it to sound that way.
No.
Their finding was.
The findings were there were no findings.
Yeah.
But that's, if this is gonna have a life of its own, leading from this evening to some other place, the findings were that there weren't any, and they're asking us to
Right.
revisit.
And
some documents.
recertify.
Yep.
But we did not deliberate outside the open meeting law. We do not need to disclose names of unsuccessful candidates.
Correct.
And the orders are to just review any past findings that determine that we, any determinations for the past 5 years, yeah. So, okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Superintendent's remarks and reports.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Contracts? Did you change the agenda?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've got the wrong agenda here. Okay. Subcontracts. Yeah.
Move that the school committee approve the tentative agreement between the Wakefield School Committee and WEA Unit B for a collective bargaining agreement commencing on July 1st, 2019, as presented.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions? Seeing none,
So
all,
if I just may, on behalf of the Labor Relations Group and probably, assumably the administration as well, just want to thank, first of all, thank the leadership of Unit B for what was a very healthy and robust conversation, and a good exchange of ideas, good exchange and representative complementary values, much obviously speaking toward the future successes, continued successes of the Wakefield Public Schools. So certainly we want to thank the leadership of Unit B for their common interests and their valuable work, and of course the administration, Mr. Lyons and Mr. Piffling, for attending to so many of the details with regard to this.
and all motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Okay. Next one.
Move that the school committee approve the tentative agreement between the Wakefield School Committee and WEA Unit C for a collective bargaining agreement commencing on September 1st, 2019, as presented.
Okay. Motion's made and seconded. We've all had a chance to review this. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I would just like to make very similar remarks that I did a few moments ago, and just really thanking again the leadership and membership of Unit C. They continue to do extraordinary work, and I think the types of things that we were able to come together on will not only help us help their professionalism and their continued quality work and support of teachers and of students that are in their care. And just to thank them for that work.
I would like to thank the negotiation subcommittee. At this point, we have 6 of the 7 contracts signed and settled. So that's a great way to be starting the year. Any other comments? Okay, all those in favor? Okay. Anything else? No? Okay. Now superintendents, sorry.
Thank you, Chris. I'd like to just invite to our table here Bob Shiroli, our Director of Facilities, and I'd also like to invite Kara Morrow, our Assistant Superintendent, up with him, so that they can kind of give the committee and the community an update around what we're doing with curriculum and facilities for the summer.
Right. Good evening, everyone. So I'll be brief. I did present in June, and I went through a lot of the summer projects that will be taking place, but I came tonight to just speak to you about an update and let you know that a lot of that work has started and will continue through July and August. So just starting at our secondary level, our curriculum coordinators are leading the work across all content areas of looking at the use of curriculum resources across all of grade levels and courses, and looking to identify priority standards within each of those, so that our teachers are really focused on what those are from grade level to grade level, course to course. They're also looking at common assessments and how those are being used, and just basically creating that structure from level to level. And that's happening, that theme of identifying priority standards and curriculum mapping is happening across all content areas in world language, science, social studies, ELA, and math. We're also looking at in the area of math, that work was completed mostly through June. We're also looking at the development of skills blocks. I know that at the Galvin, they have recently looked at their skills block and how that will be restructured, and the math department at the high school is also doing something similar, which I think is great looking into next year. I can answer more specific questions, but I know the agenda's tight tonight, so if you have more specific questions. At the elementary level, we have our new STEM curriculum coordinator, Valerie Drynan, and our elementary principals participating in a multi-district project, which I'm really excited about. It actually mirrors a project that's happening at the Department of Education, the Curate project, where Department of Ed is looking to find districts who are using similar curriculum resources and get feedback on how those programs are working for teachers and working for districts. So basically what this math project is we hooked up with 5 districts in total across the state who are also using the Envisions math program. And basically everyone came to the table with the concern and goal to really make sure that that program is working for us and working for our students. I think a lot of curriculum resources will say that they're completely aligned, but that's not always the case. It really takes the work of going through the program and having that feedback from teachers about whether or not a unit was successful for their students. How do we enrich students further without dipping into the next grade level or the next course? So we are working with a math consultant. Her name is Susan Looney, and she worked with 5 of the districts to launch the project. And then a lot of the follow-up is happening through conference call because of the just different locations of the district. So I'm hoping that this will be a wonderful resource for our new STEM curriculum coordinator to rely on as she starts her work in Wakefield. And as an elementary level, we really want to prioritize professional development related to our math program. Our literacy coaches are continuing their work. They've been working with a consultant, JC Ippolito, has been working with that group for the last couple of years, and they had met, I believe they already met this summer, or will be meeting soon, to talk about goals for next year, which is really going to focus on the literacy coaches' relationship with the building-based principals and the assistant principals, with a goal of eventually developing literacy leadership teams and just having teams working together with common goals and focus on what does our literacy instruction look like at each of the elementary buildings, and that it's aligned and across the elementary level, that we have all of our elementary schools working together and doing things in a similar fashion. Also at our elementary level, we're looking, again, similar to this work also happened in 5th grade, the merging of social studies and ELA teachers together to see where we can cross-reference and align, combine standards from social studies and infuse them in ELA. And that's also something that's being looked at the elementary level as well, just in terms of how we can cross over subject areas. Our preschool, as I mentioned back in June, had a goal of looking at how they're designing their play centers, universally designed play centers for teaching skills related to their preschool program themes and standards. And then they're also looking at the preschool report cards and just analyzing how they're reporting out progress to our preschool families. And then just other topics for the summer. There's been some great summer conferences. Doug and I had the opportunity to go to the Cape to Mass Superintendent Conference, which was excellent, and I'll let you speak more to that. Some of the keynote speakers were amazing. We also had Boston hosted the NASSP National Principal Conference, so we had a couple of our principals be able to attend that in Boston as well. And then the MSAA conference is happening this week on the Cape as well, another school administrator conference. So that's those have been great opportunities for our administrative team. And I think that was it. And just continuing to look at professional development for next year and planning that out. It has been a focus too.
I'd like to add, we're really proud of our coaches who are doing work with Associate Professor J.C. Ippolito, who is the Associate Professor and Department Chair at Salem State in the School of Education. But he and our literacy coach just co-authored an article on the coaching work that's been happening here in Wakefield, and we just published in the Learning Forward publication, we're really proud of them, and the fact that their work is worthy of publication. But not only is it worthy of publication, it's their goal is to share their practice and collaborate with others that are in the same kind of realm of disciplinary literacy and doing that work as they are. So
that's great.
Kudos to them.
Definitely.
And so we also attended the METCO Professional Development Day, which was a day spent right at the end of the school year on June 24th in Framingham with a number of school leaders, just really looking at equity and access and how students are participating in their learning and how we can best support them. And there'll be more information to come about that and in our goal setting and also in our retreat that's coming up. But thank you so much, Kara.
Thank you. I don't know if there's any questions related to that update before I go to Bob.
Yeah, I've got a quick question.
Yeah.
When you gave us an update last, there was some discussion about two days this summer that were happening that I believe we're gonna be focused on the unleveling or the
Yes.
leveling of ninth
Yep.
grade ELA.
Yep.
Can you just give a quick
Sure.
update of how that first
Yeah.
day went? 'Cause I
It
think
went
the next one
excellent.
is
Yes.
coming.
So we hosted the first one. I believe it was June 22nd, if I'm correct on the date. The Friday after we got out of school, or the 21st, I think it was. I don't know, that Friday right after we got out of school. And we had Katie Novak and Ian Wilkins, a colleague of hers, come in. And we had a combination of some eighth grade English teachers and ninth grade or other high school English teachers as well. I would say there were probably about 20 teachers who attended, and it was an excellent day. Really just talked about their experience. Both presenters, Katie and Ian, had done that work in their district of Groton Dunstable, and Ian had just a firsthand account of what that looks like in his classes and how he might structure a lesson, or it was really nuts and bolts how to talk about differentiation and what that might look like, and really brought it back to what are the standards, what are the skills we're trying to get students to secure, and here's how you do this, and here's how you might enrich a student or take a student to the next level. So it was really, we got great feedback from the teachers. They felt really good about it, and the follow-up will happen in August, where Ian Wilkins, the teacher, will come back and work with that same group, and maybe a couple of additional teachers as well who couldn't make the June date. And we're also offering, to continue throughout the school year, a 5-part series with Ian facilitating a 5-part series focused strictly on leveling grade 9 English. And so we're hopeful that a lot of the teachers who are assigned to teach those courses will participate in that and have good feedback for us as to what that will look like.
So in lieu of participating in the district professional development, they would participate throughout the course of the year just on English. So that time that initially was dedicated for, district goals or district initiatives, we're saying that this is so important, we're dedicating 15 hours to do that outside of their classroom and outside of any additional days, so.
But Kara, you said you're hopeful that they'll choose that, so they're not actually required.
Well, I think, the way the 5-part series is structured, it's supposed to be about teacher choice. So it's supposed to be about, here's our offerings, and we put out a PD, professional development menu. And usually, teachers are signing up for things that are directly related to their practice. So I would imagine that most of the teachers who would be doing that, unless they were asked to facilitate something else or were pulled in another direction, would want to participate, because it's just gonna be really nice to have those points to touch base throughout the year when they're actually teaching the class.
Yeah.
So I think it would be highly valuable.
Cool, thank
Yeah.
you.
They also need to be able to get PDPs in certain areas like special education and English language learners or ESL to recertify. So if they're in a window that they need to do that, they may need
That
to
takes
participate in
precedence.
another offering.
Yep.
That's what they need to stay certified,
Yep.
right? But they could also, there'll be other opportunities in addition to just the 5-part series, right?
Anybody else?
Great. Good evening, everyone. Thanks, Kara. I just want to give you guys a quick facilities update. I sent this out yesterday. Hopefully you guys got it. Our Galvin floor, the slab project, we are currently a few days behind schedule. Bonds had to investigate a few concerns during drilling, so it's kind of put us about a half a week, 2-3 days back. But after doing that, the drilling has concluded. I'm sorry.
Can you back up for a second?
Sure.
In regard to the slab project, can you just tell people that may be watching for the first time?
Yep.
So what is the context of this project?
Sure, definitely. So, the Galvin School was built 5 years ago. Over the last 5 years, the slab has started to settle. The structure of the building is sound and safe. The slab has settled so much past acceptable tolerances within the building code.
So the slab is the floor.
The slab is the concrete floor, correct?
Thank you.
Yep. So from what Bond and the engineers have told us, we haven't put enough piers in to support the weight and the load of the slab. I mean, there's definitely different theories on how the school is built on a pond or some water river. But regardless, we're remedying the issue and putting more piers in to secure the slab. So everything is pretty much going to plan, a few days behind just because we've had to investigate some of the drill holes. But besides that, Bond's doing a great job.
What were you actually investigating in the drill holes? What were those issues?
So a few of the issues, when we started grouting, we hit a few pipes, a few drain pipes. So we had to dig some deeper holes, 4x4, down about 4x4 wide, down about 8 feet, and just investigate around the pipes. We're doing a little work on some of them, but everything is gonna be fine. Yeah. Tomorrow we'll be finishing the grouted piers. So after that, we're gonna start filling the holes and then doing the floor work.
I know you're the expert on this, but just in regard to, just to clarify, the grouted piers, so they're drilling down, they're creating, correct me if I'm off, they're creating a 4-foot diameter hole right down through the floor, 4 inch
Yep.
diameter, not 4 foot, 4-inch diameter hole, and they're drilling down, and then they're pouring concrete, which will support the slab, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
I just wanted to make sure I had it right. I know you're
Yeah.
the expert on this, and just wanted to make
Thanks,
sure that
Doug.
we're clear.
Any other questions on the Galvin project? All right. Our summer school cleaning, at the beginning of the summer, before school's out, each lead custodian, I had them put forth a scheduled cleaning plan on where we'll be throughout the school year, week by week. This also has helped teachers and principals to know where we should be, as well as myself and the custodian crews on cleaning progress, and every school is either on schedule or ahead of schedule right now. So that's, you know, a great update, and the guys have been doing a great job so far this summer. Some notable capital projects that I mentioned last time I presented to you guys. The DPW has been working on the HVAC rooftop units to try to get more air conditioning into the high school. They're still working on that, and hopefully that will be finalized in the coming weeks, if not this week. I walked with the DPW and a few of our contractors today regarding some plexiglass windows at the high school that we're replacing with glass. So that should be done also within the coming weeks. We finished remediating an abatement of some asbestos tiles within the high school. It's the mastic and the glue that has the asbestos in it. So we finished doing that today. So tomorrow we'll have an inspection. Hopefully that'll pass, and then we'll be able to start laying new tile that doesn't contain any asbestos for better health of the school. Our cafeteria fridge and freezer project, phase 1 was completed last week. There was ice buildup in the outdoor freezer, so it kind of became a hazard when our cafeteria workers went out there to store their food. So we resolved that, and then we're going to start working on the indoor fridge freezers. We're having similar issues starting August 13th, and we'll complete that by the 30th. At the Dolbear, we have a PA system which we'll be updating in the coming weeks. At some of the larger areas, the gym, the cafeteria, and the library, we're putting a few more speakers in, so when there's more children in the room, we could hear announcements or emergencies, and not kind of be guessing what's going on after the PA system announcement is made. DPW is also adding a boiler into the Dolbear, the secondary unit, and they should be hopefully doing that by the end of the summer. At the Woodville, we have a capital project. I believe it was about $5,000 to update some of the bathrooms there. A few of the toilets are starting to fall off the wall, so we're going to secure those better. At the Greenwood, also adding a second boiler backup. They were there last week taking out the old one, and I believe later this evening, Chris and you guys will be discussing the MSBA accelerated repair program for the Greenwood roof that was accepted by the MSBA on June 26th. We discussed that last week at the Finance and Facilities Committee. And then at the Doyle, we have the sprinkler system upgrade and the fire alarm panel upgrade. DPW is working on this, and we're hoping that they will be able to get this resolved by the end of the summer, so the school is up to code, and we have life safety for all the children and faculty in that school. And I've listed a few other notable projects that you guys could read either prior and in future. We're also doing a ton of other requests from teachers, principals, that we need to get done, that they've noticed throughout the school year, trying to just do preventative maintenance on the schools as well.
So I think I would just want to add, one of the questions that we've gotten in regard to MSBA and being accepted into the accelerated repair for the roof at Greenwood is that because MSBA is supporting the replacement of the roof at Greenwood, and they'll pay up to half of the cost of that, which is a savings for the town. The question that we get is, because we've been accepted into one grant, will that affect us in any way in regard to the application that we've made for the high school? And they are two separate things, and they are both kind of judged on their own merits, and also based on the number of other applicants and the needs of those applicants that apply in a given year. But they are two separate programs. You know, we applied for this with the best of intention, not knowing what we would get, and we feel very fortunate to have been selected. And I think at the end of the day, it's gonna save the town up to $500,000, which is terrific, so.
Any question? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, is the other half of that cost get voted on at some point, or is it already budgeted for? Like, how does that get covered?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so the first thing that we need to do, and Bob is working very closely with MSBA, you weigh in here, Bob, I wanna make sure I get this correct. We need to hire a project manager and to develop schematic plans for the replacement of the roof, right? And so when we do that, one of the things that we're going to investigate is the possibility of solar on the roof at Greenwood. One of the questions that Bob has very smartly pointed out is, based on the age of the building, we don't know if the building can withstand the load for solar. But one of the things that Bob shared is that if we weren't unable to get it on the roof, then there are other things that we could do. We could do kind of in the parking lot. There are other options for us. But the first thing that we need to do is hire an OPM and get a schematic design, and the town will appropriate funds at the fall town meeting for that. And so what'll happen is we have a budget for extraordinary maintenance. So we're gonna work with the town administrator and find the resources and then reallocate monies for that in the fall. So that's the plan right now. Yeah. Am I off with that, Bob?
Hit it on the nose.
Thanks.
I think the key word was accelerated, so it has to move quickly because by their rules.
Yeah. And Bob has been instrumental at, working with MSBA and being a point of contact here on the school side, so I can't thank him enough, so.
Just a follow-up question to that, thanks, Bob. So after the OPM is hired and there's a schematic design, that is then presented to fall town meeting, is that correct? And then it's voted on to supplement the other half?
So I believe this evening you guys are gonna discuss and vote to use the extraordinary maintenance fund to first cover the OPM and the schematic design.
Yeah.
And then in the fall meeting, yes, there's gonna be the vote to cover that, and we're gonna backfill that.
I see, okay.
For the school side, correct.
So just for clarifying on that.
I'm
So
sorry.
MSBA requires we put $100,000 of our money up immediately, so we can't wait for fall town meeting, we have to do that now. So we're gonna take the $100,000 that we've allocated in the local budget for extraordinary maintenance for the time being, until we can get to fall town meeting and get the vote to reimburse the school department on the $100,000 investment we're making out of our extraordinary maintenance line.
Right.
And then, I don't know when the other vote will happen for the, say, $500,000 investment for the roof, for our half of the roof. And then MSBA will cover the other half of the roof of approximately $500,000. Again, until we have the schematic design and the quotes, and it's a longer process, although it is accelerated. We need to move quick, but we need to slow down. It's one of those hurry up and slow down situations. So there will be a few votes at town meeting regarding the accelerated repair project at the Greenwood. I'm sorry.
Yeah, as Mike stated, so we got accepted June 26th, and then the MSBA gives us 60 days to come up with the money for the OPM and the schematic design, which is Mike and Doug had said we can't wait until fall meeting to
Right.
show that we have that to move forward.
And I'm not sure that we're actually gonna vote on that tonight. It's not on the agenda, A.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure
Okay.
that, I'm not
I
sure
didn't
that
know
we
if
need
it was
to. We'll probably have a Finance and Facility Subcommittee meeting and determine that. But if we need one, we still have time. We still have 2 meetings in August that we can allocate up to that need, if we need to take a vote of the full committee.
When,
Oh, sorry.
Tom?
Two questions.
Yeah.
One, all of the other things you were talking about, the replacing the windows, the HVAC, the floor in the high school, the PA system at the door bed, is that right?
Yep.
All of that's going to be completed before the start of school, or it's not going to interfere anyhow with the start of school?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, and if it hasn't started, then we're not gonna start it before the beginning of school.
Perfect. And the solar panels at Greenwood that Doug was mentioning, are you working in conjunction with Wakefield Municipal and Gas?
We will be,
Okay.
yes, yep. So that's what we're gonna discuss once we have an OPM designated to us for this project. We're gonna speak with them about the schematic design and
I only ask because I know that the commissioners, when they were running for election, that was one of their things was solar panels and more green energy.
yeah, and this was brought up by Steve Mayo. He made the suggestion, so we'll be working in conjunction with everyone moving forward with this. Yep.
Just to follow up on timing, do we have an estimated time of when the Greenwood roof would be complete based on the
Our plan would be next summer.
next
so
summer?
That's what we're shooting for.
That's what we're shooting for.
That's what we're shooting for. It might be the following summer, but we're gonna go as fast as they will allow us to go. So, we would love, our target is next summer.
Yeah.
But some systems, have to it takes a while to pull it together. But I think we've responded well within the time limits that we've been provided. I think the town administrator and the town council are very supportive of this project, so I think we're moving very quickly. And so, our goal is as quickly as we can. So, and if not, next summer, if MSBA can't respond that quickly, then we'll do it the following summer.
Go ahead.
In terms of the boilers, how much time does that type of project usually take? Because I know it says to be determined, like in general, I don't know if you know that.
I don't have that off the top of my head. I mean, it depends whether it's a boiler like we had at the Doyle that was 70 years old
Yeah.
versus a boiler that was 25 years old.
Okay.
There's a lot of work that goes into each of those. They can make it a 3-week project, or it can make it a 1-week project. So it all depends on how old the boiler is that we're
Okay.
replacing.
And that's through the
Sometimes we take out the
DPW.
old boiler, sometimes we don't.
Yeah, because I
Sometimes it
saw
stays with
install
the building.
boiler and then update add.
Yeah,
At the
so,
Doll Bear?
so we're kinda, yep, so that's, they're installing a new boiler, but they have to update it to meet the codes with the other boiler that's currently there.
Okay.
So one boiler is currently running well, the other one, isn't, so we're only running on one boiler there, we need a backup.
Okay.
So it's kind of a
And that's
a
through the
update ad.
DPW, right? The
Correct.
DPW,
Yeah,
okay,
they're running that
It's a
project.
it's a capital
It's a
project.
capital project.
Led by
Okay.
the DPW.
got it,
Some capital projects we run, some they run.
okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Bob?
I also think that they like the pressure of really stretching the calendar as much as they can. They try to, and they do, actually, they do it more, they pull it out. They're pretty amazing, and, yeah, so, but yeah.
It'll work best under pressure.
Yeah, my goodness. I would like to get it done sooner than later. I think we're all set.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Kara, thank you, Bob. Much appreciated for your time. Just an update with personnel in regard to our food service director. We have an IMA, an intermunicipality agreement with Reading that lasts for 1 more year. Our food service director, Kristen Morello, has taken another position and is moving on. Our plan is to continue the IMA with Reading and have this be a joint position and a shared leadership position in both districts. And so the plan is, and we've reached out to Reading and we're collaborating with them, but we're gonna have 2 members of our team go over to Reading and interview candidates with them on Monday and Tuesday of this coming week. So I'm pleased to report that. In regard to our school business administrator, I'd like to invite Christine Bufagna up to our table. And so I can share a little bit about Christine. So Christine has been in Lawrence for the last 22 years. She has some private school experience for a short time, but for the last 22 years has been in Lawrence, in the city of. She is one of a few people that is left standing at central office after a few receivers have come and gone. She has been the director of finance and the chief financial officer there for the last few years. You know, in regard to us interviewing and trying to fill this position, this is a very, very difficult position to fill. And in regard to us interviewing, you know, one of the things that's critical to us is to really think about, you know, a match, right? Thinking about the personalities, not just someone with the technical expertise to come in and create and balance a budget. One of the things that came across very quickly in interviewing Christina on both interviews was that she is really a remarkable person in regard to her ability to listen and problem solve. Her ability to work very closely with school principals. Correct me if I'm off, there are 25 schools in Lawrence?
25.
25 schools, over 2,100 employees.
14,000 students.
Yeah, 15,000 students and a budget of over $200 million. And so their grant budget alone is larger than our entire budget, okay? And so in regard to her experience, her work, the more she talked, the more we thought this person is clearly distinguishing themselves as a person that has the technical ability. And the more we got to know her, you know, we went over and toured Woodville, and summer school is in session. We met students, we met some teachers. I think it became clear to us that this was just really a nice core values match. And her ability to work with other adults really kind of carried the day. And in checking references, you know, one of the things that resonated with myself and the interview team was that her references said, you know, anything Christine touches is better because she was a part of it, right? And probably the nicest thing or the best thing that I can say about her is that she makes people better, right? She helps people she kind of dials down the temperature and the anxiety that adults can have around budgeting, you know, and professional development. She's done a lot of work with a number of principals over that course of 22 years at 25 schools. I think I'd love to hear the number of principals that have come and gone in Lawrence during that time period. But she has been someone that has been relied on time and time and time again by both the superintendents that have come and gone, the receivers that have come and gone, and also the administrators in the school. And her ability to forecast budgets as well. She talked about her ability to work with principals to forecast budgets out 1, 2 years, 3 years, which is something that FinCom has said to us. That's something that we really need to start to investigate and start to make that part of our budget planning. So we feel like her experience, her professional experience, her core values, and her work in Lawrence distinguished her as the candidate that could be really a terrific match for us here in Wakefield. So with that said, you've received information that I've shared with the Labor Subcommittee and also with the entire committee, where I'm recommending to the school committee that you all appoint Christine Bufagna as our next school business administrator.
Move that the school committee, move that the school committee approve the superintendent's recommendation to hire Christine Bufagna as the new school business administrator effective August 26th, 2019.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any questions from the committee? You're really off the hook. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Is this the point that I could just make a comment?
Yes, absolutely.
That was quite an introduction, Doug. Thank you. It's a little overwhelming. And I do know that I have huge shoes to fill. Mike is, from what I've been told about him and as a district, he's going to be a huge loss for this district. and I'm just so excited to come and to join you and to listen to Bob and Kara. Just so you know, I've worked on 3 accelerated repair projects in Lawrence and 2 core projects. So this is like thrilling and exciting, and you're speaking my language, and I just can't wait to join you. So thank you.
Were you involved in the new construction of the high school? up
So that
there?
was a little before my time, but that was about 15 years ago. But
Oh, it's been that long?
we've done three roofs and 2 boiler projects, yeah.
Wow.
So,
Time flies, I guess.
it really does. You know, I've been through a lot there. I've worked for 7 superintendents. There's stories, but it's been a great experience there. But there just comes to be a time when you just know it's time to move on. I try to be a lifelong learner and always to push myself to sort of get out of my comfort zone and to learn something new and to meet new people. And when I just met Doug and Kara and the team here, it just felt right. So I'm just so excited to come and to join you and to see what I can bring. So thank you.
Well, I do need to tell you that when Doug called me last week, he was so excited. He could barely contain himself.
Great, thank you, thank you.
So motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? That would be a unanimous vote. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Other news from me, you know, I'm feeling a little responsible as a parent. You know, when it gets to the end of July, I would ask my children, so where are we at with our summer reading? How's the summer work coming? So this is just a gentle reminder to anyone that's not on vacation and might be watching, you know, you students, parents, families, you might want to take a look at the Learn Anywhere site. Over to the right, there's a pull-down menu in regard to summer work, summer reading. You have to get going on it. August is here. It's coming. And so it's like winter is coming, right? And so, yeah. So we gotta get going on that. So please, again, just a gentle reminder, and we hope you're all enjoying your summer and kind of getting some well-needed rest. I also need to provide to the committee, I sent an email out before this meeting, just updating you all, that at the end of June, the last Friday in June, we received a memo from the Department of Education and Jeff Riley, the commissioner, letting us know that the alternative learning days are going to be discontinued for the state. So how we translate that is, so districts that have created alternative assignments for snow days, and we're not making up snow days. Our Learn Anywhere days during snow days, right? There's still other parts of our Learn Anywhere plan, but in regard to snow days, I shared information from the department that says we can continue through the 1920 school year, which is exciting if the cup is half full. But after that, the department is asking districts to go back to the old snow day plan as was used now 3 years ago. And so it is disappointing. And I think one of the reasons why I am in particular am disappointed is because we were invited, myself and Adam Colantoni went to the Department of Education with other school administrators, and Wakefield and some other districts were invited to be part of an advisory group to help the Department of Education to develop guidelines to guide districts in how to develop these plans. And so I thought we provided some very good information. We got some very good feedback. You know, I just did a conference call with Helene Benincourt and Shay Edmonds at the department, and they were very thoughtful and kind and talked about, you know, Wakefield in a lot of ways was an exemplar in this space, but there was such a range in implementation of the plans that were being submitted and approved at the department that they felt like they couldn't control it all. So their response was to discontinue the plan outright. which, to be honest, was disappointing to me because I thought that the Department of Education could have set whatever criteria or guidelines that they wanted. They could have made it very difficult for all districts, including us, to have checks and balances to make sure that we're effective, to make sure that we're providing service for our vulnerable populations, to make sure that we are adhering to equity and what that might look like, to make sure that there are checks and balances around technology access for different families. Those are all things that I think came up in our Learn Anywhere committee. So I felt like we were planning for this and kind of moving forward, but not all districts were that able to kind of respond to the needs of communities. So the department's response was they felt like that after this school year, they have asked all districts to kind of do away with their Blizzard bags or Learn Anywhere programs, which again is disappointing, but an update for the committee. I don't know if anyone has any questions.
What do you think the chances are that they'll rethink their decision?
I think the chances of them rethinking their decision is very strong because it's summer. I think had they done this in April, I think they would have heard from teachers. I think that they would have heard from parents, because there are a large number of parents, large number of teachers, a large number of school districts that are now in this space that feel like this is what the future is going to be. So to pull back from it in its entirety without creating any criteria for districts to work with, my guess is that teachers, administrators, and districts are going to really, and parents and communities are going to really be upset about this. So I'm sure that the Department of Education is going to hear that from them. So it's a great question.
Colleen?
Sort of a similar question. I was just wondering if you thought in your conversation, if you had any conversation, that they alluded to the fact that they were going to maybe assess maybe some successful programs or programs that were able to assess themselves and sort of move forward, and that maybe it's more like a pause, sort of reset.
Yeah.
And start with criteria if you thought that was part of the conversation.
That's something that I was hopeful about, but I did not get that.
Maybe too early to say.
That's not the information that I got back, no.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Colleen?
Yeah,
Amy,
thank you.
I do that again.
It's okay. I mean, obviously, the Learn Anywhere was not the biggest fan of the program for a few different reasons.
Yep.
So it is slightly disappointed to hear that they're not going to continue it and just cut it cold turkey, basically, because we did put a lot of work and effort into it. And I know our first year was really, we had six snow days, we had 2 snow days in a row. Nobody really, we were just, it was a pilot.
Yeah.
So we went through a lot of bumps along the road. But then year 2, I felt like we had a committee in place. There was more communication with the community, and we only had 1 snow day. So it seemed like it was, we're kind of on the path to, maybe having this system work. But, there are still holes in the system, in my opinion, in terms of like the special ed kids who need accommodations and modifications, and kids who rely on teachers' aides, paraprofessionals, and other services to help them get through their instruction. So for those types of kids, 2 snow days in a row, I know, just speaking from experience, it was really difficult.
Yep.
So, I mean, those are some of the things that I understand maybe why the state is doing that. And then the other piece of that is, like for the teachers, they have a curriculum that they need to get through. So if we have 8 snow days in 1 year, I would think that, not being a teacher, but it would be difficult for those teachers to get through that instruction if we cut off, if we have those days, June 18th, we're done.
Yeah. So in regard to the number of days, so one of the things discussed in this subcommittee that was providing feedback to the department was this notion, and this came up at our Learn Anywhere committee as well. Is there an opportunity, or could we move to a modified space where we're limiting the number of Learn Anywhere days? So, maybe we'll have, 3 Learn Anywhere days.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll make up days.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll have, we'll have 3 regular days off, and then we'll have Learn Anywhere days. The department could have done anything like this. They could have said 2, they could have said 3, they could have said 5.
Right.
And districts have created these plans like this. And I think one of the things that the Learn Anywhere Committee was discussing was, what is too many days off?
Right.
Right? That's a real question. And is there a sweet spot?
Right.
Could we settle at 5? Could we settle at 3? And should we recommend that? And that was one of the things that the Learn Anywhere Committee, I keep looking at Kara, because Kara was the facilitator of the Learn Anywhere Committee, but that's one of the things that was being discussed, and that my guess would have been implemented if we were to continue.
Right.
My guess is that if we moved into next year, Kara's a former special education director.
Yep.
So when you say that to her, this resonates, right? And so, but we had plans for compensatory services.
Yep.
We try to work at, and have options for families and students. There were districts that didn't.
Yeah.
So, the department said to us, we're so pleased at what you created,
Yeah.
but there's such a range in what other
Yeah.
districts have created. It's not apples and apples.
Right.
So, but I don't think this conversation's done.
Yeah.
I don't.
I mean, it is disappointing because we did, put so much work and effort
Yeah.
into making it kind of work, which I do feel like it did. But when we voted on it, I actually wanted to revise the motion and, limit it to 3 days. I mean, that's kind of what I thought, because I like the idea, but I don't like the idea of 8, but 3 is reasonable,
Yeah.
So we have 3 Learn Anywhere, teachers can make accommodations. Maybe some special ed kids can be like, okay, if there are 3, then I'll know, I'll
Do you mean
understand
5
what
or
to do.
3?
If there were 3.
I'm joking.
Yeah. And then anything over that, yeah. But,
No, I agree.
so it's just, it is
I-
unfortunate. I do wish maybe they restricted it, but now that it's completely over.
Yep. And so
It is what it
I
is.
think this conversation's gonna heat up in the fall.
Yeah.
And so, so I think we're gonna hear more about this. So just my last comment is, Festival Italia that's coming up at the end of August,
24th.
24th of August. I got an email today from Brian Fox, something about a dunk tank.
I already
And-
volunteered.
So Chris is in, what other school committee members? 2 school committee members are in?
It was really fun
3
last
school
year.
committee members are in?
Cold and fun.
For the
We have 3 of
record,
7 right now.
never.
So
Sorry.
we have Will
Cat.
Go first,
We have Will Carbonara.
Not happening.
Will Carbonara is here in the audience.
No.
So Will, dunk tank, for a good cause, Will.
I'll make a check.
How convenient.
So,
Mr. Lyons?
Well, thank you all.
yeah, thank you all. And so,
I said Mr. Lyons.
yeah, no, that's the end of my remarks.
No, he still doesn't.
No
The
tank,
dunk
no tank for you?
No tank for you.
I'm still thinking about it. Still thinking about the dunk tank. But I look forward to being there, and
Well,
the Wakefield Public Schools will have a tent, and we'll have principals that will come and spend some time, and we hope to see families and students there. So, yeah, look forward to it.
The table is always a great place for kids to come up and get to visit.
It's terrific.
You don't realize how much they miss you over the summer, so they come up and,
Most do,
yeah.
most do. Yeah,
Okay,
but that's it for my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really quick, Doug, just for clarity's sake, because I think you said it, but I just want to make sure people got it. For Learn Anywhere, we will continue the program as it existed for the 1920 school year. So people don't have to worry about the last day of school changing or any of that, correct?
That's my recommendation to the school committee.
Okay.
And so the pilot was supposed to go through this year. The committee's already voted to have it run through this year. We would like to continue the Learn Anywhere committee to, just as a check and balance on this. And so, yeah, we'd like to do that. Yeah, so.
Moving on to Mr. Piffling.
Thank you. Before I start my reports, congratulations to Christine. Christine, congratulations. Congratulations. I know you're being disrupted by Bob. Congratulations. I have to say, the committee, they interviewed me publicly for like 20 minutes when I came here, so you really did. I mean, really, I'm just so disappointed. But I was looking forward to that all night. I will tell you, you will come to love this community probably very quickly. This is my second home, so best of luck to you. This is just a wonderful place to work, so congratulations. And you do have my cell phone number.
Can you share your last day?
So my last day will be August 23rd. And then I'll be back for some days in September, provided Christine allows me to come back in October, November, whatever's needed. I think Doug and Dr. Marode up in Haverhill have made up some arrangement to share me for some days in the summer up there and some days in the fall down here. So you're not getting rid of me that quick. Anyways, on to my reports. The reports in front of you are for fiscal year 19 closing reports. There are really no surprises in here. Certainly, the salary lines came in over by $316,000. We anticipated that due to the special education budget coming in under budget by $60,000. So, we saved $360 by not sending kids out of district, but we were able to. It cost us $316,000 to do that. So certainly a net gain to the district to keep these kids, obviously for educational reasons in district, but from financial reasons also to keep them in district. Salaries came in over budget. Contractor services came in under budget. That's where special education salaries land. And supplies and materials came in slightly over budget. All in all, our intention at this point in time is to return about $500, $560 to be exact. Again, it's an estimate at this time. We still have some open purchase orders out there that sometimes will come in with freight costs that we weren't expecting, or vice versa, something comes in under what was anticipated. We may have opened a purchase order for more than what we needed. But at this point in time, our anticipation is that we will return $560 to the town for fiscal year 19. At the next school committee meeting, I believe I will be presenting FY20 financial reports for the new year. We have opened fiscal year 20, and I have a lot of warrants over here for signatures tonight. We're running double warrants right now, closing out fiscal year 19. So every week we're doing 2 warrants, one for fiscal year 19 and one for fiscal year 20. So I have double warrants for everybody to sign. And then just moving on to the grants, nothing to report in the grants. Everything's fine. We don't have $40 million in grants. Our $1.6 million or $1.7 million is something a little bit more manageable. Sometimes I wish we had more money in the grants area. And then the revolving accounts, as anticipated, all revolving accounts are healthier for the most part than they ended last year. So we are all positive balances and all ending healthier. We did receive our fourth quarter circuit breaker reimbursement after these reports were created. So those will show up in the FY20.
About 450 then?
So an additional 433 came in on top of 20,000. So yeah, 453. Yep, around 453 that we should close our year in circuit breaker in reserves. Which I know a lot of districts strive to have 1 year reserve, but I think this is the first time in my tenure in Wakefield that we've had more than a couple $100,000 in reserve in circuit breaker moving into a new year. So, provided there are no questions on the revolving account, grant accounts, or local budget, I will move on. There are payroll warrants 51, 52A, 52B, 52C, 52D, and 52E. Oh, and warrant 53 from last fiscal year. These are all the majority of these are the 5 paychecks for teachers at the end of the year that I would ask that the school committee approve those payroll warrants.
Motion.
I move that the school committee approve payroll warrants number 51, number 52A, number 52B, number 52C, number 52D, number 52E, and number 53 as presented.
Second.
Questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Everybody? Good thing, paychecks already went out. So it's a good thing.
It's a good thing. This is one of my favorite reports that I give every year is the annual report of our gifts that you've accepted throughout the year. And I know it's going to take me just about 30 seconds to get through this list, but I think it's important to recognize our donors throughout the year. Wakefield High School Girls Soccer, the Warrior Football Club, Keith's Tree Service, John Roberto, Wakefield High School Boys Soccer, Wakefield Alliance Against Violence, the WAVE Group, Wakefield High School Dance Team, Looters International, Anna and Michael Mirando made a nice gift to the Post Academy. They have a child that goes there. I never say this right, but the Cassite, Italian grant or gift. Cummings Properties from a Woburn employee. Wakefield Cooperative Bank, WEF and Cummings grant. That was a big $25,000 donation. Friends of Wakefield High School Hockey, Walton PTO, Amy and Thomas Blaine, the Megan S. Burnett Foundation, the Wakefield Memorial High School Softball Booster Club, and the Friends of Wakefield High School Track. All total, our gifts this year, the monetary gifts were $63,645, and in-kind gifts had a value of $3,500. So I would like to say thank you to all of our kind donors throughout the fiscal year 2018-2019 school year.
You missed Wakefield Cooperative Bank.
I said them, they were in there twice, so I skipped over
Oh,
them.
okay.
They did make 2 donations.
Okay.
They were in there twice, so I skipped them the second time, but they did make 2 donations. So there's no motion on those. You've already accepted all of those gifts. There is a motion on the next item. This is our end-of-year transfers, or our budget transfers for the year. This will model identical to our local budget reports that you saw a few minutes ago. But the first page is the lines or the budget categories that we had surpluses in, and that totaled $584,986 in surpluses. And then those will be transferred to the lines or the budget categories that had deficits totaling $584,426, a difference of $560. So I would ask respectfully that the school committee approve the budget transfers as presented.
Move that the school committee approve the fiscal year end 2019 budget transfer request as presented.
Second.
Any further questions, Ms. Piffling? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you.
And there's a category E, year-end reports. I don't know what they are, so
Okay.
move right by those. That concludes my comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Piffling. Subcommittee reports. Finance and Facilities has met. You just accepted the minutes of the 2 meetings. And I can't remember, did we schedule another meeting, or are we waiting?
No,
Yeah,
we
so
should.
we will be having another meeting the next couple of weeks.
26th.
Huh? The 26th?
Why not Friday the 23rd?
At 4 PM or something.
Yeah.
Very tense.
But
Really get into it, you know.
I think you've seen the bulk of our discussion, so I think we were all set for any further reports. Labor and Personnel, Mr. Markham.
We certainly don't have any report tonight, other than obviously the conversation and the voting that we took earlier. Just again, thank you to the employee leadership and the school administration for a valuable process.
Okay, great. Student Services, Ms. Purcell.
Student Services, we have not yet met, but I am trying to schedule a meeting, so hopefully I'll have a report at the next meeting.
Okay, and Policy and Planning, that was Policy and Communication.
Yep.
That's is there.
Yep, we're kind of in the same boat as Amy. We're trying to get a meeting scheduled for next week.
Okay.
So we're working on getting that going.
It's summertime.
Yep.
Okay. Future dates and agenda items. Mr. Markham, you had something, didn't you?
I did. I wanted to mention, we all talked a little bit at the last meeting with regard to the high school, our working and planning group. Sort of in the same line that we've had a busy summer, a busy July, as have I, although I've been on vacation, so I have to admit that freely. So I'm not actually prepared tonight to put out a proposal of any kind that we talked about, but I would be able to and suggest that we put that, if the chair's open to it, on the August 13th agenda for rolling out in the fall. The summer's a downtime, difficult time to get people together and to get some, even for the smallest of things. But nonetheless, I would like the committee's indulgence to put that on the August 13th agenda, and with an eye on rolling forward come come September.
Okay. Any other items? Okay. School committee comments. Start down the side, Mr. Flynn.
Nothing.
Nothing. Ms. Weider?
No comment.
No comment. Mr. Markham?
I'm good, thank you. Happy summer all.
Ms. Fortier?
No comment.
No comment.
Okay.
Just congratulations to Christine, and I look forward to working with her.
Okay. I have nothing further. Anything?
No, just hope everyone's having a safe and enjoyable summer. And get going on your reading and math, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Move that the school committee adjourn its meeting of July 23rd, 2019.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Bayer. All those in favor? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
I have.